Hello, 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 and welcome to Inspiration Interviews, Season 2. This is the opener of Season 2, and I just want to thank all of you guys for tuning in and sticking with me through Season 1, and I am so excited to open with Season 2 today. You guys know why you're here. I'm your host, Charles Nichols, and you know what Inspiration Interviews stands for. We pull influencers, people who make a difference in the community, and just people who just need their story to be told. These are people who stories impact me, so I know it will impact you. And sometimes, as you guys know, superstars are definitely in my range of contact. So sometimes they can just be born into your family. They can just be in your family. So with that being said, I have a special treat. I have my TT, I have my big cousin here, and she's known me, of course, since I was in diapers, but she has just dropped the hottest gospel single out there right now, and I am so glad I have the honor to bring in Kelley KPG Green. Come on down, come on down.
I couldn't thank you if I had 1,000 tongues, but I'll do my best while I sing this song. You are incredible. Your name I lifted up. I'm so in awe, so in awe. Lord, I'm so in awe of you. Amazing you are. Yeah, Lord, I'm so in awe of you.
Thanks.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Oh man. You're gracing me with your presence right now, man. It's definitely an honor. As I mentioned earlier, this woman has dropped the hottest gospel single out there right now.
Woo, go get it.
So with that being said, as you have heard somewhere in this video, that is her song that is playing right now. You may have not recognized it, but that is the song that she has dropped. And with that being said, I mentioned earlier, you know me since I was in diapers.
Probably before you were in diapers.
Before I was in diapers.
I knew when you were in the womb.
Oh, wow. Well, that's saying something right there. So with that being said, I wanted to give the audience a chance to know you when you were that young. Okay. So I want to start out by saying or asking, what was your upbringing? Where you're from? Where did you come from? And how did singing incorporate in that?
Okay. I grew up here in Memphis, Tennessee. I've been here all of my life. And I think music has just been that thing that I've been connected to really all of my life. I grew up remembering, my dad playing anywhere from Tremaine Hawkins. I wake up singing hallelujah in the morning time. I mean, that was our Saturday song to get up and start cleaning, to Anita Baker, to Patti LaBelle, to, just some of the biggest names in music. My daddy was a huge music lover. My mom, and then my mom grew up, she was here from Memphis, grew up in the church as well. And so all of that kind of collided. I grew up in a church called Mount Vernon Baptist Church.
Oh, wow.
Westwood, 620 Park Rose, under the leadership of Reverend James L. Netters. And I would say that some of the things that really stood out about that church is that they had a huge impact on their youth. And they kept their youth involved in everything. And a part of that was music. And so I think I started in the Sunshine Band and in the choir, and we actually had a music teacher who taught us the whole looking at scales and being a part of that, going from that portion all the way to being under his ensemble, to being in our youth choir. Our youth choir traveled the country singing.
Oh, wow.
Then in my high school years, actually roll that back, middle school, I had to make the decision of, do I want to do choir or do I want to do band? Because I couldn't do both. I actually started off playing tenor saxophone.
Oh, wow. That's something I
Ribbon
didn't
in
know.
the Sky was one of my favorites.
You used to remember how to play?
And I was first chair. Put that out there. And so I had to make a decision, and I went with singing. Mm-hmm. And so I did change over to that. And then the choirs, I went to a school called Fairleigh High School, Bulldogs, class of 96. Go South Fairleigh. And so with that, we traveled the country. I was under the leadership of James Matthews, mm-hmm. Reverend Matthews. And so, well, actually not James Matthews, Robert Matthews. Mm-hmm. And so under Dr. Robert Matthews's leadership, we traveled the country as a high school choir. I mean, we were probably close to 300, if not more. We would travel with loads and loads and buses of choirs. Wow. And so in that, I just really, music was that thing. It was just singing was that thing. I mean, I've done that literally all my life, probably since the age of 6 or 7. I have been singing all of my life.
Oh, wow. So, and you said somewhere in there that you had to make a decision between saxophone and singing, and mm-hmm. that you were great at the saxophone as well. Mm-hmm. So how did you determine which one you wanted to go with?
So, I think at the time, because I knew where I probably wanted to go for high school, mm-hmm. And in that moment, at the same time, that the band was hitting and popping as well. Mm-hmm. But I was just drawn to singing. I just really love singing. You know, that's where my passion was. And to be honest, that's where it came easy. You know, that's where it flowed for me. I didn't really, even though I did practice, I didn't have to practice. You know, it just came easy to me. And so I think it's part of, just part of their training and their upbringing in the church I was in, our youth choir, we just had such a strong bond and connection. And I really loved that, so that was great.
I popped into the world when you were singing in the Redeemed Church Choir. So the Redeemed Church is the church that we both attend, the church under my parents. Mm-hmm. So I did not know that you were already traveling and just were already hot with the choirs and singing. So that brings me to my next question about the experience that you had with the choir, and how did that help you produce this hot gospel song that you got right now?
I think I would say it's been the flow. Mm-hmm. It's been what led me, it's what prepared the way. From a small kid, I was always involved in music, and it never stopped. Even when I went to UT Martin, away to school, we were in a group called God's Anointed People Gap, a band or a little group there that was created. All my friends grew up singing, and I was just always connected to music. Mm-hmm. And so I really think that was God's way of really connecting and preparing me for this time. When I came back from UT Martin, that's when the church actually had began and was starting under the leadership of your grandmother. And so, of course, your grandmother said, "Hey, I need someone to do music."
I got you.
And so, and there it truly was an humbling experience, because from there it was like starting from scratch for real, because mm-hmm. We had to sing from tracks, mm-hmm. And so learning to look for the tracks that really fit our mold, and really trying different new music. And so I think that's when I really began to kind of get more serious about praise, worship, and singing, because for that period in my life, it was like I was trying to get it right. I wanted to do it right. My heart was in the right place of wanting to get everything to be before God's people in the right light.
So I love that. That makes a lot of sense. But I'm going to tell you what still is kind of fuzzy to me. So I'm going to break this down like this. Mm-hmm. Me growing up, of course, around gospel and around the church, I hear a lot of great gospel songs. Great, but when you talk about What's a gospel song? What's a just gospel song in general? Because I'm going somewhere with this.
You want to do something like from a Kirk Franklin?
Yeah, what's a Kirk
Now
Franklin
Behold the Lamb.
I don't know the lyrics to that.
Okay.
But it tends to kind of have the same sound, different meaning, same purpose, but at the same time, when I flip through the radio, and especially with me being young, it kind of tends to sound the same. Mm-hmm. And so where I felt like you had to be on the show for, not only because you just dropped this great song, but it's just the sound of it. It does not sound like every other gospel song out there. I cannot just be like, well, this can be in rotation of the 3 songs that they play on 95.7 and it sounds kind of the same. This has a smooth feeling to it, and I dang near, as a noob, almost broke into a little. Almost broke.
Go ahead.
It's a very smooth song, and it's just kind of got that R&B feel. So I have to ask, with your experience and with the gospel artists out there, how did you determine this sound?
I really have to give credit to the music group and the label that I'm working with, and that's Piff Music Group out in Los Angeles, California.
And that is definitely my next question.
Under the leadership of Christelle Flynn, and so the producers, just working with the producers there, she's got some hot folks on her team, and they are awesome. I did not actually write this first song, and so it was actually written by a gentleman by the name of Corey McHale. And if you look him up and Google him, he's hot out there as well on the scene. He's done some great productions and some things working with other artists. And so also as, the producers that have been working on this particular vibe. And so when I was approached with this opportunity, of course, I was on it because I do want to be different. I don't want to be the same sound. I want, and actually I have really just prayed for a different sound. I want something that will catch the attention of young people, attention of older folks. I just want to be caught, from every corner. I don't necessarily have to be in the church. That's where I know where I'm from. I know what I am, but expose others to gospel in a limelight that they haven't seen before.
First of all, you accomplished that goal. That goal of being different and straying away from what the traditional sound sounds like. I give you your flowers. You were great with that. You said you were approached. So were you just sitting at home or at work one day, and then all of a sudden you get the phone call to come to LA like that?
So, in a nutshell, somewhat. So the story kind of unfolds as I'm connected. I think God's timing is perfect, and God opened doors that no man can shut. And so I think it's really just all about connections. And so I actually traveled to California and was at a funeral and met some of the folks and kind of got connected in that way. Outside of just the relationship, family-wise, being connected through, that aspect of it, that's how the door kind of opened and prepared the way. And from there, it, kind of start rolling like, do you want, this position or this particular opportunity opened in terms of, hey, I'm just wanting you to know we're getting ready to start a music group, and Paid in Full Consortium is actually what it was. And then they kind of birthed this music group out there. And after that kind of formed, it was like, you have an opportunity to come on board. We're going to help you. We walk you through how to do XYZ, and really just kind of help you as an artist to form who you want to be and not make you conform to anything else. And so I think that was the thing I loved. Like, okay, I get to kind of do this in my own timing because, as you know, I have a lot of other hats, and so that was critically important for me because of the opportunity. I didn't want to let it pass me by though.
Yes. That's definitely one of the things I wanted to make sure that we touch on. As you said, you wear a lot of hats. You do a lot. And there's only so much, of course, that I know, but with you, just with the simple facts of what we know, with the full-time job, having 2 daughters, being a wife as well. I mean, just with those things, that can be a lot within itself, in addition to the things that you have going on outside of that. So how did you manage to have the life that you have now, and then with doing this project and accepting this role?
Okay. I would just say that, when you do your work, so of course I work a full-time position with here in the school system here in the city. I do that. Like I said, I am a wife. I am a mother. I'm also a worship leader at the church. And so that is one of the other things I think, just really praying. And then at that time, upon, kind of signing with PIF, it was also start preparing. You need to take vocal lessons. You need to take, it was quite humbling. It was also, I am not one of those folks where I thought I was, beyond taking music lessons.
Exactly.
Like, I've been in music all my life, but I wanted to learn. And, it was some of those things, because I think those things kind of helped prepare me, and actually kind of led me. And then I just had the opportunity to, some gaps in time. And so in those gaps of time is when I was able to, like I said, let me back it up. Prepare for having live via Zoom vocal lessons.
Oh, wow.
So I'm working with different vocal coaches to, expand and learn how to, protect, my vocal, as well as, stretch, range, all of those types of things, enunciation, just every little thing. I was trying to pick up on those things that I could learn. And so that was kind of in spare time. And then as well as also trying to make sure that I write, I actually do write. Sometimes I feel that I want to accomplish that task next. I do have some things up my sleeve, trying to get that as well. And then becoming an artist, the other part of it that started turning my wheels is like, okay, you're a business owner now. So time was limited. I mean, I think it might have been some nights where it was like, okay, how many hours of sleep have I had before I get ready to actually go up and do my real job? So God just prepared the way. And like I said, gaps of time occurred in my schedule where we might have a fall break here and there. And that's actually when I flew out to LA and recorded the single during the fall break.
Wow. Yeah. Well, that's definitely a lot. So you may have lost some hours of sleep, but we gained a great song because of it. So thank you for your commitments. So what does it mean to you to be able to be a part of something this big?
That God's favor is not fair, but I'll take it. I'm truly blown away, because sometimes you often ask yourself, or you question yourself and the talent that you have, am I good enough, or am I able to walk into this arena and to actually walk into a studio where you hear some of the top names in the world. That's a hint right there. And that producer has worked with some of those artists, both the songwriter and producers on there. You're like, oh my God, it can almost be a little bit overwhelming. Like, am I really here? Is this a dream? I'm pinching myself, trying to see if this is really real. And so, it was just God's favor, and I cannot take any credit. I do have to give all the glory to God, because His favor is just overwhelming. and just like I say, walking into the doors, opening doors, different things that have happened, and just opportunities and just even the exposure, and finding out how things actually work behind the scenes. That in itself, most people even don't get that opportunity. So just having that opportunity alone was worth it all. So I have really been blessed. God has opened the doors that no man can shut for me.
Oh, wow. And I love that. That's great how you don't even feel that you need to take any credit from that. Just flat out God's favor. And me in my lifetime, I know definitely about God's favor. So that's enough said right there. Just bam, God's favor. That's all you got to say with that. So we have talked about a lot. So as we are winding down, I do want to ask, or at least let you know. Let me set the scene. I have a lot of friends, right? Mm-hmm. And so, me being in the I don't know what generation I am. I think I'm millennial, or either that,
or probably millennial,
or whatever is
you
below
move
that.
like a millennial.
Hey, look, we're gonna cut that part of the you know what? I don't even want to ask. What do you mean by that?
No, don't ask.
but
you're a go-getter, that's for sure.
Oh,
I mean, you take it, and when you have ideas, and you go with it, and I don't know if that's, like I say, I don't know if that's a millennial or not, but I definitely applaud you on that. You have ideas, and you go with it.
Well,
Lovely.
We're cutting this whole part. Yeah, so I have a lot of friends, right? And we just talk about getting older, how life has changed and all that type of stuff. But they say that if they don't accomplish a certain thing by like the time that they're 30, I'm in my early 20s. Mm-hmm. So they say if they don't accomplish a certain thing by a certain time, like if they're like 25 or 30 or something like that, they ain't gonna do it, or they just gonna give up on it. Or that's basically they're giving themselves a limit to where, like, if I don't do this by 30, it's over with. And like, I'm just gonna live the life that I got between. You have accomplished this now, and as I said, I won't make you share your actual age, but just
44. I'll share 44. It. 44.
Well, you fooled me.
44.
You look great.
Well, thank you, lovely.
You look great.
Thank you.
So look, you're 44 years old, and you are just now doing your single, which is something that you have dreamed of, as you mentioned earlier. So what advice would you give to people who, for one, like, are more so in my generation, that, if they don't accomplish something by then, they want to give up? And what would you give to the people that are your age? Because I've also been around people your age, and they just say, like, you know what, it be what it be. Nah, I ain't gonna get this. I ain't gonna get this. What type of encouragement do you have for the people? Man,
so I would say is that don't put the limits on yourself. Don't put yourself in a box. God's timing is perfect. And, you can always prepare. Sometimes everything doesn't come exactly when you want it. Like, I never imagined that this opportunity would come at a later point in my life. Of, like you say, you're always looking forward to, like, if I'm doing it, I need to do it while I'm in my 20s or whatever. But I think you really should just take the limits off God, and just sometimes I think you need to maybe just reverse to say, what is it that I'm missing, that I'm not getting the opportunity to allow this thing to happen? And sometimes it's not like magic. It's just not going poof and fall in your lap. You got to work for it.
Exactly.
And so I would say that you have to prepare, take the times, take the limits off in terms of time, and just continue to seek God about what it is that you're doing, because how do you know this is what you need to be doing? And if it is, He'll drive that passion and purpose. He'll put a burning or a desire, I feel, in your heart. No matter how long it takes, that's something that will always continue to make you hungry for that thing, and so I think for me, that's what happened for myself. It's just like, okay, well, if I'm supposed to do this, show me a sign, open the doors for me. And so those are the things that kind of really happen in my prayers. Like, Lord, really help me on what I need to do. Show me, guide me. And I think those are the things that probably need to happen in your private time and in your conversations of meditation with God, and, just trying to figure out what it is, because sometimes you might be praying for the wrong thing. Yeah, exactly. And so I think that those are the things. And like I say, just humble yourself. Don't let what should be coming your way, it might not come in the package that you want it to come.
Exactly.
And so it might be a stage thing, so I think you just have to be open, because sometimes it could be sitting right there in front of you and you just miss it because you're looking at the wrong package, or it didn't come the way you thought it should, because God's ways are not our ways, his thoughts are not our thoughts, and so he knows. For me, he knew what was best for me. And the only way that I could also say that I knew that this was my drive, my purpose, is because I also had an attack that came against me once I really, really tried to dive in and focus on the music as I should have. And so I know that with that let me know, okay, you're made for this, because here's the attack, here are the things that are happening, and it wasn't until I actually said, I'm committed, I'm doing this. And that's when
stuff started happening. That makes sense. And what I'm taking away from that is that it could be right under your nose. It could be just coming in a package, as you said, like that you didn't expect it to be, but you got all the tools and resources that you need. And then bam, once you start committing, you could be liable, of course, to an attack or to something that is starting to try to stray away from that, because the devil does not want you to win. The devil does not want you to go down that pathway that God has put out for you. So, oh man, I am very, very inspired by your story.
I do hear one thing though, and that's use what you have. Use what you have. It wasn't the whole thing about like I said, I've been in music all my life, but what good is it if you just gonna sit, so whatever your talent is, what good is it gonna do? Like, if you're, whatever it is, you should be using what you have, and I think that that's a part of it too. I was faithful to the things that I was asked to do and called to do, and that also, I think, makes a difference, the faithfulness to whatever you're committed to.
Yeah, I always love to say, give your 100% and God's gonna do the rest, because that's all we can do is give 100, give your 110, do above and beyond, and I promise you everything else gonna come naturally, because it has no choice but to. So with that being said, oh my gosh, your story is great and I thank you for your time, but we have a little surprise. Because I have a now 1-year-old, right? And I also know some traveling artists and all this stuff. So God forbid, I am not in any way trying to downplay or any negative light to say this comment. But a lot of them sacrifice time with their children. So we got to know that everything that you just said was true. So we're going to see, do you know your children? So as I was having time with them, I interviewed them a little bit. So if their answers match your answers, then we'll know. You have 2 daughters.
I have 2 daughters.
Madison and Amanda.
Yes, I do.
Madison's favorite food?
Hamburgers, cheeseburgers. That girl is the American dream. Cheeseburgers. She has a list of burgers rated on the refrigerator for what's best in Memphis.
I need that list.
She has.
I need that list. Amanda's favorite food?
Oh boy, Amanda is. It depends on what day of the week it is for Amanda.
So let me ask you this: what does she ask for every Friday?
Dodge's chicken wings. Amanda likes gas station chicken wings.
Gas station chicken. How did she get on that? So now I'm looking at you.
Probably because of us. Dodge's has some good wings now. They do. But she likes a good deep fried, fresh Dodge chicken wing. She does ask for it every Friday.
you're at your job, doing your work. It's been a long day. You get a phone call from the school. One of your kids in trouble. Who is it?
In trouble?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I would say in trouble, but I would say Amanda before Madison.
So far, you're 3 for 3. You're 3 for 3. They by no doubt said, "Oh no, it's Amanda. It's Amanda for sure."
Yeah.
So this is kind of the trickier question.
Okay.
And we'll conclude with this.
All right.
Who's carrying on your singing legacy?
So, neither one of them want to do it kind of right now. However, I know that Madison actually kind of has a tone and a voice, but she really doesn't want to. But in just walking around the house a lot of the times, you really hear Amanda diving in. Amanda's on songs all the time, different, whatever, just different songs. I don't care. She could be singing a show. Mm-hmm. So I would say Amanda would be that one.
See, that kind of was hard to get at. Your first part of the answer was definitely like kind of up in the air. Mm-hmm, they both kind of said that it's either one. Could go either way.
Yeah, so. It could go either way. I think Madison just has to. I think Madison probably is just kind of like, Mom.
And what are the age of your daughters?
Madison is 13.
13.
And Amanda is 11.
11. So you got some still youngins, still a lot of time to find themselves. So of course, up in the air was the perfect answer. So to conclude, you take care of your kids. So you take care of your kids. So that's all good.
So I do have to give a shout out though, because the daddy is awesome.
Daddy is awesome.
Daddy is awesome. He probably takes care of him more than Mom. And so Dad is the one. He is the GOAT. I give it up to Dad Green. So. Way to go, Green.
Shout out to Green.
But yeah, for sure. I give it up to him.
Man, well, thank you for spending time with me. It is it's about 6 a.m. We still ain't got no coffee or nothing, so
drink that water.
Thank you so much for your time, and your story is awesome. Where can they find your single at, and where can they get connected with you?
So they can get connected with me on Instagram at KPG_PIFC. And in terms of my music, I will give you the link also so you can roll that on the scroller. But they can do it on YouTube, Google, Spotify, Amazon, Deezer. It's all the way down to Napster. So any of the major music streams, I'm out there as KPG.
KPG.
And the name of the single is In Awe.
I'm so in awe of your story.
Well, thank you.
I'm so in awe.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining, and thank you guys for tuning in.
Woo! Way to go, Charlie!